This episode is brought to you by Battlefield 6. Battlefield 6 is the ultimate all-out warfare experience. Rip through the skies in aerial dogfights. Demolish your surroundings for a strategic advantage. Harness complete control over every action and movement using the kinesthetic combat system. Drop into multiplayer with your squad, or fight furiously as a member of the Dagger 1-3 squad in a gritty, adrenaline-fueled single-player campaign where you'll defend a world on the edge of collapse.
This podcast is brought to you by Carvana. Carvana makes car selling fast and easy from start to finish. Enter your license plate or VIN and get a real offer in seconds, down to the penny. If you accept, Carvana will come pick up your car from your driveway. Or you can drop it off at one of our car vending machines. Either way, you get paid instantly. It's fast, transparent, and 100% online. Car selling that saves your time. That's Carvana.
Carvana.
Pickup fees may apply.
Hey, it's Stephen Rothberg. I am the founder of College Recruiter. We believe that every student and recent grad deserves a great career. Welcome to episode 48 of the High Volume Hiring Podcast. I am here today with my co-host, Jeanette Leeds. Jeanette, want to say hello? Tell people a little bit about yourself.
Episode 48. I'm Jeanette Leeds. I'm the Managing Director, Executive Vice President at AMS. And as hopefully you know, I focus on our high volume solution. Really excited today because joined by one of my friends and colleagues and students as well, Jonathan Kestenbaum, also at AMS. And we're going to talk tech and high volume.
Awesome. I'm really excited to be here today. Thanks for having me. John Kestenbaum. I'm currently the Managing Director of Tech Strategy and Partners at AMS. Prior to AMS, I was the co-founder of Talentech Labs. I've spent my career, probably the last 15 years of my career, evaluating talent technology tools. I've demoed thousands. I know every feature, functionality, and revenue model that exists or could exist in the space. And I've also had the privileged opportunity to help heads of talents go through a digital transformation and understand how to leverage those tools and combine tech and touch together to solve business outcomes.
So you are the guy who's going to talk to us today about a few products that are kind of new to the market that should be really great for high volume hiring employers. What's your first one?
Well, I'll start with they're always the first, the best, the greatest. All of these are the first, the best, the greatest, the only. I'm sure you guys have heard that in sales pitches, but
the best thing since sliced bread.
Yeah. I mean, no one's ever done this before. So there's a big trend right now. There's two trends. I mean, look, there's a trend that companies believe that high volume hiring is unique enough in process and in integrations needed to actually start building technology specific for high volume, which is exciting. The second trend that's really driving the innovation, that's differentiated from what's in the market already is the rise of generative AI.
Yeah. And
AI has been around. It's not new. We've been leveraging AI. Every deck I've seen for the last 3 years has had AI. But for the most part, it's been focused on solving, matching challenges or recommendation engines or prediction engines. And it's now focused on being able to actually generate new content, which lends itself really well to conversational AI, which in the case of high volume, allows recruiters to get back to candidates, or robots get back to candidates in a much quicker fashion, and in the hiring process can be run in an automated fashion much quicker than historically.
So things like chatbots, things like tools that can help you write job descriptions, job posting ads.
Absolutely.
Those are
tools that create the creative images in the job posting ads to attract candidates. Tools that summarize and transcribe interviews. So all that information can be operationalized and searched inside of an applicant tracking system. I've even more recently seen an amazing tool that takes a voice. So I could take your voice with 2 minutes of content and actually turn you into a digital recruiter and have a dynamic conversation with the candidate. And it is so impressive what it sounds like.
So something tells me that my friends and family would not be thrilled about my voice being automated so that they would have to hear it even more?
Yeah, I think there's risk. Look, there's obvious benefits with leveraging AI and you know, removing bias in many ways from the process,
Yeah.
because not paying attention to things that you might historically been biased by, or that have created bias in the process. However, there's definitely risks, security risks. I mean, this is going to become an exploited technology outside of recruitment, and it's going to become an issue that we're going to have to deal with, because candidates are going to be able to actually fake who they are, and recruiters are going to be able to fake who they are. But also, think about someone copying your kid's voice and calling you for money because they're in trouble. I mean, it's going to be crazy. And I'll show you guys an example if you guys are able to.
Yeah, absolutely. And while you're pulling it up, by the way, like, you have a code with your kids, and then they'll be fine.
Or I think, I know we're at this point where blockchain is everyone's like, oh man, what a failed technology that was. But the reality is, it started over here with all this hype. It's now down here, but it's going to start to come back up. And I actually think blockchain is going to solve some of the security issues that we have with AI, because it's all about identity. And so I think blockchain will come back. But anyway, let me show you this, because it is insane. And let me.
And what's the voice product?
Yeah, so I'm going to give them a shout out because they shared it with me. It's a company called Qual AI. It's a team of folks that have built successful products in the space, and they're now at it again with this. But the voice you're going to hear of the recruiter is actually one of the co-founders of Qual AI. So I've heard his voice, and so I know what he sounds like, and it's crazy to hear a robot.
And it's Call CALL
KWAL.ai. Wow.
Okay, cool.
Here we go.
Hello, this is Mike speaking. Hey, Mike, I'm Jim. Nice to meet you, man. So I'm a recruiter with XYZ Company, and I'm giving you a ring today because we've got this forklift operator job. It really seems like it could be a good fit for you. I was kind of hoping we could, chat for a few minutes about the role if you've got some time. What do you think? Yeah, I'd love to do that. Cool. Appreciate you taking the time.
I'm going to pause for a second. The really cool thing there is it actually can have a dynamic conversation. So if he paused and said to the recruiter, where are you from? Or, it could say, oh, I love New York. Have you been to this restaurant? Like, it actually has a dynamic conversation. While it's interviewing the candidate, if the candidate doesn't give a deep enough answer, it'll say, hey, can you elaborate more on that time when? And it is generating this on the fly to better understand the candidate, which is fascinating.
It's so cool. And I think that's the word, like, from a very basic level, the word Gen AI, generative AI, like, it's generating content or generate, like, and so I think just everyone hears these buzzwords, and I think that's the key. And this is such a perfect example that brings to life, high volume hiring. Forklifts, so forklift candidates, you gotta talk to them. It's great.
Yeah, we mentioned some of the use cases that Gen AI is, being leveraged for. The truth is, this particular one, I think, is going to have the biggest impact on high volume hiring, over a job description creator or the ability to generate an image. But it's really going to be fun to watch these go out into the market, because I know when chatbots came into the market a number of years ago, their big story was, high volume and how they could solve this, problem. But the big thing that they had was the candidate experience still was pretty bad. And so, I think this is better. I don't know. I'm interested to see how much better.
Hello, I'm Ruth Thomas, host of Comp and Coffee, where we break down what's next in the world of compensation management. From pay transparency to performance alignment, we explore how businesses are rethinking compensation to drive impact, equity, and growth. So if you're shaping the future of pay at your organization, grab a cup and tune in. Listen on the Work Defined Podcast Network.
Yeah, so much of the stuff that I hear, like, detractors talking about it, they'll talk about it in terms of, like, where the technology is today. And say, like that voice sounded a little mechanical to me, especially at the very beginning. But that voice didn't exist a year ago. And look where we are now, and where we're going to be a year from now. And I think to the employers who are watching this, right? They're not necessarily making a decision on what product is available today. They've got to be planning for 2024, 2025, and getting ready for that. By the time they get budgets approved, decide which vendor to go with, get it installed, that technologies will be so much further along than it is today. A use case for that, I wonder if you would agree with this. I could really see this being incredible for hiring call center people. Where you want to be able to hear their voice, cadence, accents. Now speak, if it's bilingual, now speak to me in French, and you can act, and then the candidates that get a high score would then get surfaced to the recruiter.
100%. But the other side of this is a bot that's connected to the, to a larger data set than we're all able to keep in our brains. And so like it could have really dynamic conversations, and like think about early career hiring, high volume early career hiring. Like these folks might want to know about what it's like to work at the company, the culture. Like these are things that a recruiter might not have in their brain, but this thing does. And so you're able to basically go on collegerecruiter.com, click the apply button, and then get interviewed within a minute from this bot. And you could ask questions about what it's like to work there. And, it will be like the most personalized recruiter you had a discussion with.
Wow. So before I give you the answer about me driving a forklift, tell me, what do you pay?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right. And then the bot can say, $18 to $22 an hour, depending upon experience. Oh, that's great. Tell me, what was it that you were asking again? And it's like, tell me about your last job.
Even in this example, if I was to skip ahead, it actually negotiates with the candidate. It says, hey, the job pays $18. The candidate says, oh, I really want 20. And then it will say, well, would you be willing to work in this location instead? We can offer you $19. And candidate says, okay. So, there is a real, use case for the, running in the entire process.
Which is amazing. Well, I'm looking, we're almost at time. I'm going to ask one last question. Any other really cool things you're seeing in the market or use cases there, or you're like, where else is the future going in the next, 6 months? Because as Stephen, you said, this stuff is just evolving so incredibly quickly.
Yeah.
Listen, I think this is probably the coolest use case of Gen AI that I've seen. I've also seen some really interesting, I don't know if you guys have seen the Lex Friedman video he did interviewing Mark Zuckerberg with VR and the metaverse. I mean, they spent all this money on the metaverse. I'm a shareholder in Facebook, and I was, pretty disappointed. I actually honestly thought the metaverse was just a way to attract the best developers for Facebook. And, they were just having fun making up projects to work on. But it's fascinating what they've been able to do. Like they are pretty much digital avatars that look like you in the metaverse, that you can feel like you're with somebody. So I think that will be, likely useful in scenarios where you want to try out a job or you want to really experience the emotions of that person you're having a conversation with. The challenge that exists there is that it costs a lot of money for these, goggles and to get scanned. And, that's historically been a challenge. It remains a challenge. But the good news is that price is likely going to come down over the coming year.
That's amazing. Well, I think when everyone sees this or views this podcast, Jonathan, you and I will be at HR Tech. We're pre-recording it. So, can talk more about this. I know that we could talk about this for hours and lots of.
Yeah. The only piece of advice I'd give you is it's really easy to get distracted by the shiny objects.
Yes.
If I've learned one lesson over the last 15 years, it's that the tech is only as good as the people and process you build around it. So it's super important that you pay attention to how you operationalize these technologies in your business, how you combine tech and Dutch meaningfully together.
Excellent advice. Jonathan, thank you so much. Jeanette, Jonathan, safe travels to Vegas.
Yes, and to London.
Try to stay away from the casino floor. Not a healthy environment. I'll be in London at Job Boards Connect. I will try to stay away from the fish and chip shops.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.